Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring you the new cards that are coming into the game. So we're gonna be talking a bit about them and thinking about some teams that we can build around them. So let's get started. The first one is Eula. For Eula we have a normal attack, 4-1 cryo and 2 other dices that will deal 2 physical damage, pretty straightforward. And a skill, using 3 dice of cryo, will deal 2 cryo damage. And if this character has not gained a green heart, which is this buff, green heart is that after this character uses the elemental skill, remove this status and you get +2 damage. I think it's really great, this one, if you can stack some of them, like with the Diluc. When Diluc uses 3 times the elemental skill, the next one was free or something like that. I don't really remember because I don't play Diluc, but it's pretty much the same. Elemental burst, it's 3 cryo cost and 2 energy cost, and deals 2 cryo damage and summons the life as well. The Life Sword, what does is at the end of the phase, it deals 2 physical damage. I don't know if it's AoE or not. I guess it's AoE, so you will deal AoE damage. And for each stack that you will get, this damage is increased +1. How do we get stacks? Well, when Eula uses the ultimate, she can use the elemental skill to accumulate 2 stacks and not get energy. She doesn't receive energy, but she will get 2 stacks. So your sword will deal 4 damage. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you can do multiple triggers of the elemental skill, this can be super great. I mean, stacking a lot of dice to do a super nuke. I don't know if it will be possible to do it, but I think Eula can be super fun to play because this damage is super awesome. Things that we can play on her: Superconduct teams where she gets the energy and she's getting protect for Mona, for example. Mona protects a lot. Eula, giving a Bennett to Eula. This type of teams are super decent on her. You can even play Superconduct teams like Fischl, Beidou, Eula, or Fischl, Eula, and for example, I don't know, another cryo applicator like Genio or Diona to protect ourselves. I think Diona is pretty neat with Eula, so we will probably see a lot of playing with Diona. So nothing else to say, let's get to another one. The next character is Sara. Sara is coming to the game. It's like a buffer, a support. With the normal attacks, we use 1 electro dice and 2 other, and we deal 2 physical damage. Pretty straightforward, nothing else to comment here. And the elemental skill is where the things get a bit rough, because you use 3 electro dices and you will deal 1 electro damage and summon 1 Tengu Invocation. The Tengu Invocation is pretty much like the Guba. At the end of the phase, the Tengu deals 1 electro damage, but instead of just disappearing, it buffs your active character with a feather. Okay, this feather gives +1 elemental skill and burst damage, so your elemental skill deals 1 more damage and your elemental burst 1 more damage, and it has 2 usage. For example, or Eula with the elemental skill and the elemental burst will deal +1 damage 2 times. I think I explained it myself okay. If not, leave it a comment and I will try to explain again, but it's really easy. You get a buff on both elemental skill and elemental burst, and you have 2 usages of that. It's not really complicated. Elemental burst is a 4 cost electro dices and 2 energy. It will deal 1 electro damage and summon 1 Storm Closure. The Storm Closure has 2 usages on the turn, so it will take 2 turns to die. It's like the Guba. I think the Guba it's the same, or the ultimate of Golei has the same times used. And at the end of phase, you get rid of 1 of the usages, do 2 electro damage, and buff like we did the buffs with the feather on the elemental skill. It's exactly the same buff, but on the ultimate, and you have 2 turns to get 2 buffs on 2 different characters, for example, or both buffs on the same character. But which teams are the best for Sara? So for Sara, I think the teams where she shines a lot is where she can give huge buffs. I think, for example, having to buff Jin or Sucrose on the Jin control deck, that could be super great because buffing and doing DOE damage can be super double. And also on Eula, for example, with Eula is gonna be a really good partner. For other characters, for example, I thought about Golei Keking with Aggravate and Spirit, and I think that team is gonna be super great too, because the buffs that Sara gives you can be really big, and that big buffs that you give to them is super awesome. So for doing reactions is super great. So I think Sara and Aggravate teams can be really great. to be honest. Also, some things that 1-to-1 shot like Mona Diluc, Sarah can be played, but they are more mid-tier decks than super good decks. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts on Sara. Finally, and I think of these three characters, Kokomi is the most broken character of the three, because she's a Hydro player. With the normal attack, you use one Hydro and 2 other dices and deal 1 Hydro damage, pretty straightforward. Elemental skill is where things come really great and handy for her. For 3 dices, you summon 1 jellyfish, and at the end of the phase, this jellyfish does 1 Hydro damage and heals your active character for 1 HP, like the Guba, Oz, and things like that. It's a summon. And finally, the Elemental Burst. It's where things are super great. For 3 dices of Hydro and 2 energy, you deal 3 Hydro damage and the character gains a buff. The character with this buff makes +1 damage on normal attacks, and after using a normal attack will heal 1 HP for all characters. This is only for Kokomi. You can't give this buff to other characters, keep that in mind, but this is super great. You can play something like Fischl Beidou and use Kokomi as carry, and you will do a lot of AoE damage. I mean, Kokomi with a lot of application of certain elements is super great. Joy-Milla ultimate can be good too, but I think the best part comes from Beidou ultimate. Beidou plus Kokomi will be super insane. You can also play Kokomi as a healer, but I think she's more like a driver, and also it will heal your characters like a lot, but a lot with your characters. It will keep a lot of healing. Also, you can play some things like freeze teams, for example, with the Elemental Burst, and for example, Elemental Burst from Gainu or Ayaka. That's also doable. But I think the best part of it is playing her with Beidou or another characters that can trigger reactions. For example, as I told you, the ultimate of Joy-Milla. So yeah, I think Kokomi, it's gonna be pretty much meta. And if it's not meta, she's gonna be a really strong pick. So I'm really hyped to play her, to be honest. So this marks the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, it helps me a lot to keep growing. And see you guys next video. Bye bye, thank you for watching.